Okay, so if you're watching this video, you most likely read the chapter, but if you haven't read the chapter, like I said last week, it's only going to take you 3 seconds. So I'm going to give you 3 seconds and then come back to watch this because we will be talking about spoilers. You have been warned, okay? 3, 2, 1. Nagi was ranked 24th in the NEL. He's out of the U20 World Cup team. Nagi put the fries in the bag, motherfucker, because you are not him. Get out of here, you bum. And also, holy shit, Fami was death all along. Can I say it? Can I say it? I'm gonna say it. This changes everything for real this time. Those thumbnails and titles will never stop being funny to me. This chapter quite literally reconceptualized everything of part 2. And I'm going to admit right now, part 2 has been a little bit like this for many of us in the community. Part 1 reigns supreme, and now I sit and I think about this, and I'm like, first of all, I will never doubt Fujimoto. Many people say, let Fujimoto cook, and now I will never doubt this man's brilliance. This man bamboozled us. How many years did we see all these signs and we were just assuming Fami was the Famine devil, the dimwit, the Kobeni-esque quirky character we've been seeing in the past 2 to 3 chapters facing off against Fake Saw Man was Fami all along. And we'll talk about Fake Chainsaw Man and we'll talk about the real Fami in a second. I just want to sit and think because just like you guys watching this right now, I just can't help but now wonder, I have to reread part 2 to see all the signs, to see all the conversations that Death had with Yoshida, that Death resurrecting a primal fear, her trying to consume Asa and Denji in one shot. I mean, oh my god, is Naita still alive? Guys, we're going to talk about all this and more, but let's go ahead and take it from the top as we begin with Fake Chainsaw Man talking to not Death, dismissing the money that she's offering him, and he says it's not real nor important. In response, she insists that she has lives to save. However, he challenges her, arguing that while she seeks to end suffering through death, she fails to grasp that people cling to hope even in despair. And he tells her that as the Death Devil, we know that's not true, she could never truly understand this. Something about his words seemed to strike a chord with her, and I love this moment where Fami, the real Fami, has like this Gohan moment, right? Where she's like, Fake Chainsaw Man is pissing me off, spewing this justice nonsense. And yes, I absorb life. I will end your life through suffering. But you got 99% of that right, because I am not Death, I am Fami. I like this. Let's go ahead and sit with this for a while, because I like the concept that Fami, as we know, hunger, starvation, she absorbs human life, or she absorbs any life for that matter, and resurrects herself. And Fake Chainsaw Man pretty much nailed her philosophy and her concept wholeheartedly. Yes, I will end your life through suffering. I will absorb your life through death, because that is the truest salvation. I am the Famine devil. I liked how we've been bamboozled in that regard. But Fake Chainsaw Man, let me go ahead and say, I still love this superhero persona, the fighting for the hope of people, and this is reinforced further in this chapter, right? Let people do what they want, let people just be human beings. I love that Fake Chainsaw Man is on the side of good. It still makes me, and I'm sure you guys as well, wonder who the hell is the Fake Chainsaw Man. And now, alas, let's go ahead and talk about the big mic drop, of course, because as soon as Fake Chainsaw Man seemingly is ready to put down the Famine devil, boom, Fami and Fake Chainsaw Man being pulled by some force, right? Like I just hear like that anime sound effect of the vroom, right? Like gravity just smacking down, pinning down both Fami and Fake Chainsaw Man to see the falling devil again. Now, I always love the idea that Primal Fears, they're kind of a one-time show, and we got so many Primal Fears people are excited to see. You know, a lot of people are saying, hey, show us fire, show us something else within the Primal Fear category, because we know Fujimoto can cook up some crazy ideas. And Falling Devil, she made her mark. She was an impressive and beloved character when we got that arc. And man, talk about a full circle moment. Seeing her and seeing Fami revealing some crazy twists and turns. First of all, seeing Falling Devil again, Did you see how caked up she was? I swear Fujimoto knows I'm down bad with falling. Next to Santa Claus, of course. But jokes aside, let's talk about the Falling Devil arc. Everything that was happening in that arc, from the conversations that Yoshida had with Death, saying calling yourself Fami just such a weak identity, and little did he know, because I feel like some people are going to say Yoshida knew. I don't think Yoshida knew. But to even discussing the Nostradamus prophecy in front of the big bad in front of him all along is kind of wild to think about. And even knowing that these sisters, I guess they kind of love each other and they also hate each other, because now knowing even too, in the prison break facility, Death was working along her sister the entire time and she was the punching bag. That's kind of crazy to think about. But to get back to the Falling Devil arc, Falling Devil was trying to consume Asa/Yoru, and then Denji was along in the mix. And hey, if Death could have got a 2-for-1 special right there, eliminating two of the biggest targets in this verse, that would have made things a hell of a lot more interesting. But even seeing Death having a conversation with Nayata, yeah, food and pizza could be gone, and Nayata's like, oh my god, that's gonna be a catastrophe. For Death even, playing this illusion, pretending she's Fami, like, yeah, that would be the worst case scenario. And now we know, well, Death doesn't give a shit about food, to even consuming a lot of food and constantly being hungry. Now that kind of makes sense too, because, well, there's no organs. She's quite literally a husk. Oh, and can we also talk about how Death summoned a primal fear? That makes a hell of a lot more sense than Fami summoning a primal fear, because when you think about part 1, how Makima confronted Darkness Devil gave 2 shits about Makima. But now, because we know Death summoned Fami, it really goes to show you, even if primal fears have never died, they will still bow their heads to arguably the strongest devil in this verse, Death. And speaking of Nayata, there's something that came out from the volume 20 cover of Chainsaw Man. Let me go ahead and pull this up. In regards to Nayata, it says that she was eliminated due to the schemes of the Chainsaw Man Church. So whatever Nayata's status was, she seemingly died in that moment with the riots of the Chainsaw Man Church. And, you also can't help but wonder, even though she did die in that moment, we now know that Death, pretending to be Fami, resurrected Yuko. And if Death can resurrect dead people, then there's a very strong possibility that even if Nayata's head was served in a platter for Denji to see, that maybe Death can resurrect Nayata as well. And whether it's Nayata or someone else, we know Control still has to be a part of this final confrontation. But just still sitting on this thought that the person that we saw a few chapters ago was actually Fami, and Death was with us the entire time, it reconceptualizes the story. And more importantly, Fujimoto has been setting up the rise in power of Yoru herself, and how having this endless war of Yoru can be pinned as being the main antagonist and not Death all along. So when we thought this scaredy cat person who we thought was Death was not Death, and it was Fami, and Death has been chilling with Yoru, watching Yoru ascend and climb to power. Who is the real antagonist in this story? It also makes me wonder how, in part 1, Makima wanted to eliminate all of her sisters because they knew they were problematic, and we saw how much carnage and destruction Makima caused as being the true villain in part 1. And now that you think about it, Fujimoto seems to simultaneously set up Yoru being the biggest threat, Death being a big problem as well, and now kind of Fami being in the sidelines. I'm sure that we're going to see a lot more with Fami and her potential. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, we found out more news with the Chainsaw Man movie, that the movie is going to drop October 29th. Speaking of Reze and speaking of the Bomb Girl, now if we got this crazy reveal, show us Kishibe, show us Reze. I'm coping, maybe, but maybe not. Fujimoto, I will never doubt you again. We have a lot to discuss in the live discussion later on today, so if you want to click on that video, go ahead and click right here. Whew, boy, that was crazy. Nagi out of the NEL. Get that bum out of here, and Fami is dead. Man, we are eating real good. Why are you still watching this video? Go watch the live stream. Fuck off.